Hello and welcome to the Gaming Hub. And as you can see, we have the first Train Sim World 4 roadmap, but this is part 1. The 23rd of August 2023. So they say, well, what a day yesterday, which was the 22nd of August 2023. Train Sim World 4 with a whole slew of new content, improvements and features hit on Tuesday the 26th of this year, September. Or for those who want to get it as soon as possible, you can join our early access starting from Thursday the September 21st of this year. We have a pre-order of Train Sim World 4 Deluxe or Special Edition. So, in case you've missed the Dovetail Direct Train Sim World keynote, you can watch the whole thing in its all glory blur, which we won't watch because I watched it already. If you like a potted summary of everything that was announced, here's a quick but still pretty long list. So earlier I did a recording of the article, so this is the roadmap. We've got Vorarlberg, Lindau to Blutzen, our first Austrian route and first border crossing featuring the OBE 4024, the Talent 1. The second route is the Antelope Line, Los Angeles to Lancaster. Challenging canyon terrain meets the hustle and bustle of LA with a unique F125 locomotive with Rotom cars. And a third one, which I'm going to enjoy streaming, I'm going to stream this, is the East Coast Main Line, Peterborough to Doncaster. The perfect racetrack for the high-speed LNER Zoomer and rail tours to stretch the legs. So we've got the Flying Scotsman in the Deluxe and Special Edition only. The world's most famous steam locomotive takes a century rail tour on the East Coast Main Line. We've got the Railpool BR193 Vectron with Deluxe or Special Edition, which is coming to the Noverco Dresden, which will be updated to the TSW4 features. The Computer on Wheels will be a great addition to German rail fans' collections. So we've got the Scenario Planner 2.0, chained paths, custom start times and weathers, portal support for AI trains, new UI and more. Delivery Designer 2.0, undo, redo, text entry, new fonts, toggling AI livery usage, up to 1,000 layers limit, and more. Photo mode. Pause the game to take the perfect screenshot with adjustable camera settings, filters, and enhancements to populate your in-game gallery. The Creators Club improvements, filtered by content you own, and new UI. New scoring system, rewarding experienced drivers for driving well and with safety systems enabled, which I will be learning, with all new platinum medal tier, which I did talk about in the last video. Ease of access improvements, locomotive difficulty tiering, improved player assist, simpler HUD, which is a new mini-map, mini-HUD, automatic coupling, the Class 323 and the B8 for the training centre, and improved key mapping. Improved overhead line rendering, new rain on ring screen effects. So if you play PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, you will be having the haptics for controllers, feel vibrations for key moments, and use the PlayStation DualSense controller's light bar and controller audio for signals and safety systems respectively. Oh, that should be fun. Volumetric fog improves the depth of the fog of the graphics. Let me have a drink. free roam mode, spawn trains anywhere at any time, set paths where you like, use custom formations. The world is your sandbox to use your whole collection as you choose in a single session. The PC editor beta, access our version of the UE4 toolset and the same tools for our teams use. Create gameplay, trains, and even your own routes. Sorry about my crackling voice. Phew. Well, prepare yourself for the longest roadmap ever written, currently sat at 15,000 plus words. With so much in, we had to split it into two parts. Today's and tomorrow's roadmap will cover all of the above in a little more detail. Checking in with the teams who have made them to drill into what makes them special. We'll be talking about the routes and the locos, as well as the OHLA, suspension, and rain windscreen graphical improvements today, as well as talking about some of the things we know you'll have questions about. So, here's our new Train Sim World 4 roadmap detailing what you can expect from us over the coming months. Please note, this is for all new content. We provide an update on other projects further down the roadmap. So let me screen in. So I'm not going to be reading all that out because it's all there for you to look at. You can find more on our shiny new webpage, including details on pre-orders, discounts, and frequently asked questions. Rail Fan TV schedule. This is YouTube and Twitch. Alongside our roadmap and future articles, we will of course be showcasing all TSW4 has to offer via our live stream. Here are some dates to mark down in your calendar before the game's release on September 26th or September 21st. All streams will be starting at 1800 UTC on YouTube and Twitch. So here's the live streaming schedule. So the 24th of August, which is tomorrow on this recording, is the roadmap stream. The 29th is an intro to TSW4's features. August 31st, the Vorarlberg preview. September the 5th is the PC editor showcase. September 7th is the Antelope Valley line. September 12th is the Creative Tools preview. September 14th is Dresden and Vectron. September 18th, Free Roam Mode. September 20th, East Coast Main Line, the Scotsman. And the 25th is Train Sim World 4 summary stream. The time and details of the streams may change. So Train Sim World 4, let's take a moment to take in these beautiful key arts made by our wonderful creative team. They are quite nice. I do like them. So we got Vorarlberg, Lindau to Bludsen. So I'm recording this on a phone, so let me zoom in. So it's the first Austrian route in Train Sim World. Place is called Vorarlberg. Mountainous backdrop with breathtaking scenery. Variety of service patterns across 2 countries. 44 miles or 70 kilometres. 28 train stations and the first OBE train. Train Sim World arrives in Austria. Here's the talk all about Vorarlberg and why we're excited to bring in a new country. Is Lukas Klimzik. If I pronounce that right, I'm amazing. Our senior technical producer. For those unfamiliar with the route, why should players be excited? And he says, it's a new country. We're going to Austria, and that means stunning vistas, new trains, new operators. It's also a border crossing route, so the other end is in Germany and the other is in Austria. So you see infrastructures and other scenery change as you cross the border. Which is, look at that, that's a nice little train. Yeah. What challenges come with creating content for the new country? New countries are much more of a challenge because it's important to capture what makes them unique. This can be the obvious thing like different trains and signals to less obvious things like the types of track, clips and sleepers used, the types of foliage and the architecture of buildings. Operating practices might be different to what come before, and it's important to let yourself get fooled into thinking similar things are similar. Everything must be checked and understood. The team spent a lot of time trying to understand the railways of a country just as well as the rail fans would. What's important to them and what really makes the railway and landscape present a country. Think of that, that's the talent one. As these pictures are work in progress. What would a normal run look like on the route from end to end? Starting at Lindau, you're in Germany, on a beautiful little island. As you progress off the island, you'll turn sharply and shortly make the crossing over to Austria, which is extremely understated as in reality. There's simply a bridge and you'll see Germany overhead and catenary poles on one side, and Austria on the other. Continuing the journey, you'll reach Weidenberg, where the tracks forks. At this point, you're going to head towards Switzerland along the branch line, though only as far as Lustenau, where the S-Bahn ends, and not actually into Switzerland. Nice little station there. Continuing on the main line, the track is now on a gradient and you're running alongside some breathtaking mountainscapes on one side of the Feldkirch. When the journey takes a hard turn up into the mountains for the ascent to Bludsum. Driving the OBB 4024 Talent 1 train is straightforward, but you'll have a lot to keep an eye out for around 30 stations along that journey. What has been the most challenging part of the developing of route? And he said, we felt that one of the most important things to get right on this route was the landscape with the stunning mountains around you. Going to an area like Austria and not doing justice to the views would be a waste. You've been using LiDAR, which is the light detection and ranging data for the landscapes of route now, for a year or so, but a lot of detail in that super high definition terrain just gets lost to the distance and you can't really see it as well as you would hope. The key area of development for the team has been an intelligent landscape material which is responsible for the colours used on the background, and that reacts to the data present in LiDAR terrain and can be much more precise and detailed in its rendition of that landscape via the textures and colour shown. This means all the detail, shapes and form of the landscape is visible a long distance and beautifully captures the stunning vistas of Austria. I can't wait for that. It's brilliant. Seems very fresh. Are there any particular points of interest for the players to keep an eye for? I hope we keep an eye for some of this stuff. The island at Lindau is a particular beautiful start of your journey, and while it's understated in reality, the border crossing is a notable feature as well. Beyond that, take the mountains and several areas where the railway is really close to some awesome high detailed terrain courtesy of the Lindau and the route material. The route is beautiful to look at it from start to finish. And that's Lindau. Another key feature of the route that we've implemented is neutral sections in the overhead wiring, where your train will momentarily lose power and then get it back again on the other side. Learn to navigate these. It's easy, particularly in modern trains, but something interesting as observe as you drive along the line. What unique features can players look forward to? This is our first Austrian route, so while the trains are quite similar to their German counterparts, the signals are a little different. It's relatable, so if you're familiar with German signals, it won't take you long to pick up the differences, but it's an interesting system. And just like the Germany system, it fully supports allowing drivers to drive without needing to learn the route as much as a UK route might. So they say is a 1-2-2 on the board, a single track. For gameplay, in addition to the Talent 1 train, we've also included the DBBR 185.2 to support freight traffic, and there's even some gameplay for the rail ball Vectron as well. What is your favourite part of this route? He says, for me, it's anywhere I can see those mountains. It's a key difference from any other route in Train Sim World, and a joy to see with all the detail and distant scenery that is present. Even better if those moments when it's really close up and you can see what that detail and really holding up to the close viewing. So describe the route in 3 words. Stunning. The views will take your breath away. I hope so. It's going to be busy. Lots to do with range of traffic, including some interesting layers from other packs as well. Ooh. Different. It's not like any other route we've done before. This is a long reading. Got part 2 to do tomorrow. So the route is Antelope Line, Los Angeles to Lancaster, which the detail is at. Peninsula Corridor meets Cajon Pass on a new West Coast USC route, featuring Metrolink for the first time. Here's to add a little bit of Hollywood razzmatazz, is Craig Fowler, our senior artist. For those unfamiliar with the route, why should players be excited? And he says, Antelope Valley takes players on a journey through America's sunny state with some of the most unique stations ever featured in Train Sim World. From a bustling commuter hub of LA Union to the Wild West themed Vincent Grade Acton, to the pastel artwork of Santa Clarita. Connect through a breathtaking path through the desert, mountains, and the lush plains of California. There truly is no other route that feels as special. And there's a new train. What would a normal run look like on the route from end to end? And he says, a normal run would see the players working their way through the built-up areas before slowly edging their way into the mountains. With each passing station, the player takes another step towards leaving the busy city life behind and venturing out into the rugged landscape, crawling through the valley until they finally reach a bustling city once again. So there we go. It's going straight through mountains. Well, like a little ravine. What has been the most challenging part of the developing of the route? The hardest part for us is always doing the natural world justice in replicating these stunning locations. With Antelope Valley we have gone to great lengths to ensure that our 3D meshes, foliage and landscape material capture the essence of the location. Oh, like so, that's cool. What have Metrolink been like to work with? Because that's the livery people. Metrolink are great partners to work with. We have engaged in many conversations and shared resources to ensure the branding is represented accurately. It's a little crossing. Are there any particular points of interest for players to keep an eye out for? The LA River is an iconic spot featuring in many Hollywood classics. Players might recognise the setting of a car chase in the dried concrete basin, or if they're feeling adventurous, the valleys are open for the player to explore. Strange sightings have been reported over the years that led some to believe there's more going on than meets the eye. It's a nice little that's a city. What unique features can players look forward to? Among the unique stations and breathtaking views, Antelope Valley features a brand new foliage and landscape material that makes it feel like no other route in Trenton World. What is your favourite part of the route? It's hard to pick a specific location because the whole route really is superb. However, rolling into Vincent Reid Acton as the sun is setting is a hard one to beat. Describe the route in 3 words. Conquered, lush, and desert. Desert. Thank you, Craig. Now let's turn up the speed to the East Coast Main Line, Doncaster to Peterborough. The British Racetrack route is here. Raise a pentagrass and a zoom your way across the East Coast Main Line. We promise not to use that pun anymore, but oh well. James Lewis, our marketing coordinator and a vid train enthusiast, has more. For those unfamiliar with the route, why should players be excited? And he says, it doesn't get more modern than this. Being in a state of the art high-speed train and rapidly getting up to speed is a thrill and offers its own unique challenges. I always like the feeling of I'm in charge of managing hundreds of tons, hundreds of people at 125 miles an hour. And this is no European line with fancy TVM or LZB. As a guiding hand, there's a station in the middle of nowhere, and you'll need to know when to stop for it. There's the Azuma, the 801. Can't believe that. The 801's train symbol 4. So what would a normal row look like on the route from end to end? There are several service patterns which run along this section of the East Coast Main Line. A longer distance express may run non-stop between the endpoints, letting you get to speed and stay there. But other services will call at the intermediate stations, offering a nice variety. And if you're in something which can't do 125 miles an hour, like a rail tour, with a particular locomotive, expect to pull over into the several passing loops and let LNER services take over. Oh, that's nice. So if we're driving the flying Scotsman, we'll have to be on the passing loop for it to take over. That's cool. What has been the most challenging part of the developing route? My experience in this area comes from talking to various people throughout the studio, but as can often be the case, finding the most up-to-date reference is a common challenge, especially on a route such as this where the cab rides are either from 20 years ago or time-lapsed. There are also many details to consider on routes like this with big intercity stations, lots of stop markers, waiting points and shops. And with complex stations comes lots of junctions demanding detailed the OHLA throughout. It's quite the sight to behold. What have LNBR been like to work with? LNER have been very forthcoming and assisted us greatly, providing branding designs and livery details to recreate on our Azuma model. Along with Hihachi, we were also able to access the Class 801 directly in the depot for lots of photo taking and audio recording. A big thanks to everyone involved, including our team licensing team. Oh, look at those Azumas. Can't wait to drive them. Ooh. Are there any particular points of interest for the players to keep an eye for? I would say so, but be on the ball because most things will race by pretty quickly. Lots of details have been crammed into the route. We have open shops on stations, authentic OHLE gantries, a Fame Mallard sign on Stoke Bank, and as well, of course, as big as areas such as Doncaster Works, the Hihachi Depot, lots of bridges and quite some interesting level crossings. What unique features can players look forward to? If you want to talk unique, then I must mention Newark Flat Crossing. Being the last remaining of its kind of the national network, flat crossings are where rails cross over each other without being a junction. It's like a level crossing, but both bits are for trains, just north of Newark Northgate Station. Oh, fair enough. The East Coast Main Line crosses with the line between Nottingham and Lincoln. So for the Midland Main Line owners, in the LNR between LNR racing north and south, you can spot 158 heading east and west. So you've got some layers. Perfect. Another unique feature is attributed to the East Coast Main Line history with speed. Back in the British day, across Stoke Bank between Peterborough and Grantham, the line was upgraded with a 5-aspect signalling system, added flashing green before green itself. The intent was to permit high-speed running, giving the driver enough time to stop for a red up ahead. Ultimately, the test never went anywhere, but the signal remains to this day, and can unfortunately support running at 140 miles an hour. The record for 6-1. Oh, so that's the Newark crossing point. Get a nice shot from there, can't we? Yeah. Like I said, when Trains of 4 comes out, I will be streaming it. What is your favourite part of the route? For me, it has to be Peterborough Station. It's something of a spotting haven. Not only do you have stopping LNR traffic and freight trundling by, but Azumas will also fly through on the down fast and through platform 3 as per reality, as several LNR services run non-stop between London and York. Oh, that'd be nice, doing a bit of train spotting. So let's also not forget the appearance of Thameslink, the 700s, terminating throughout the day and East Midlands traffic. And who knows, we might even get a rail tour. Describe the route in 3 words. Speed, stylish, and cool. And it looks like we can have double Azumas as well. That'd be awesome. Now, I heard there was a special birthday recently. Yes, there was a special birthday recently. And it was the Flying Scotsman. I hope they have plenty of rail tour services in game. That'd be amazing. Celebrating 100 years of being, well, a legend of the rails, the Flying Scotsman come to Train Sim World as part of the TSW 4's Deluxe Edition, which I have getting. Getting us all a little hot under the collar is our CM Jamie and our SAD Senior Audio Designer Adam. Before we go on, look at that picture. Oh my god. We will do some special Flying Scotsman streams or videos. So, have we managed to score the authentic audio? Oh, source, not score. Adam, yes. We hired out the Flying Scotsman for 2 days on the East Lancs Railway to get photos and recordings. How excited are we to bring the Scotsman to Train Sim World in its centenary year? And he says, very excited to bring one of the most famous locomotives in the world into Train Sim World. And during its century, it's just great. Something I've always wanted to see in game as an LNER fan. Myself. Is the locomotive in its original or prehistoric state, and what does that mean for the player? The loco is in preserved condition as it currently from the 2006 to the 2022 overhaul. The BR Brunswick Green in A3 condition with corridor tender, smoke deflectors and modern safety system. This means you can run the loco on all modern routes for rail tours and free roam or scenario planner. But it can also be run it on the west coast on the West Somerset Railway and also BR era's routes for the livery it's in. Oh wow, it's going over the Newark crossing. Let's take another sip. What is it like to drive? It is brilliant to drive, really get the sense of speed and power with the engine and gives you the chance to drive the world famous engine or machine. What has been the most challenging part about the locomotive to build? Scotsman is the biggest steam locomotive so far we have brought into the game. Oh, yes. And I think one of the more challenging area is to get in the finer details and style right, as Scotsman has had so many variations over the years in liveries, boilers and tenders. And there it is going past Azuma. Are there any particular exciting scenarios? Yes, there is. Have you ever wanted to go and try the Flying Scotsman record-breaking run? Well, now you can. We challenge you to get to 100 miles an hour like she did back in the 1934s. Oh, that's going to be a fun scenario. That's going to be awesome. Scotsman is currently on its tour to celebrate its 100th year. How can players join in the fun? With Scenario Planet and Free Roam, you can take the Flying Scotsman around the world to celebrate his centenary. And even recreate runs she has done during her lifetime on the rails. Also sharing screenshots and videos with us on our channels on how you can celebrate the centenary. That's a train they should put in York when it retires. Describe the Scotsman in 3 words: fast, famous, and fantastic. Railpool BR193 in Vectron. In the worst kept secret in TSW history, the computer on wheels is coming to the Deluxe Edition too. We know you're excited, and so is Lucas. Again, we have a little more information about the iconic German train. So, tell us about what makes the Vectron special. And Lucas says, the Vectron is an ultra-modern powerhouse of freight locomotive. It's got a unique look to it, and that just it all makes it fun to drive. Really fun to drive. What is it like to drive? Fun. you've to a lot of power at your command with a Vectron, so it's responsive and capable. It's also a mobile computer with lots of functionality implemented on the screens as per on the prototype as well. What kind of operations can player expect when driving this locomotive? Well, the locomotive. This locomotive is primarily used for freight in this form. So you'll be using it to haul freight on both sides of Vorarlberg and Dresden routes. However, we have indicated a wide range of fun formations for scenario planner and free roam that include using the IC coaches from the BR101 pack to let you use it in passenger mode as well. I forgot a configuration as well. That's cool. What has been the most challenging part of the locomotive to build? Oh, so much to read in this. There are extensive computer screens implemented along this. There are extensive computer screens implemented on this, along with very detailed representation of the physics of the train, capturing all of that effectively and being a challenge and required multiple trips back to the prototype courtesy of rail pull and locomotion to allow us to capture the audio as well as the feel of this train as well. Are there any operational quirks you need to keep an eye on? Take the time to explore the computer screens. The Vectron is the multi-system version and has a capability to run in both Austria and Germany. Your headlights are set up on the screen too. There really is a ton of stuff to find there. You can cut out traction motors to save power as well, just as per the real locomotive. Have we managed to source authentic audio? With thanks to rail-borne locomotion, we were able to access to their Vectron locomotives on 2 occasions, both capturing both static and running sounds, including running at speed on the main line. There's also a particular exquisite horn on this as well. Are there any particular exciting scenarios? We've added an extra scenario for the Vectron to run in Vorarlberg, in addition to make it work in timetable mode. A really awesome combination having this loco on that stunning route. Oh yeah, it's got the 101, the IC coaches, which actually quite suits it really. What upgrades will Naverga Dresden receive to support the release of the Vectron? The biggest part of the upgrade is that the biggest part of the upgrade is that the Dresden route is getting the new skies and lighting from TOD4, has introduced Train Sim World 3. Something for players have been asking for on as many routes as possible since we introduced it. Describe the Vectron in 3 words: modern. One of the most modern trains in the game at this point. Powerful, lots of power to command, and detailed a lot of highly detailed faucets and nuisances to the recreation of this locomotive to discover. So there's a new route coming. It's 1, 2, 3 months. That's the working line for it, and it's by Just Trains, this route, and it is the Blackpool, Preston and Ormskirk Just Trains. And as you can see, yes, we have a pacer. Caption: Pleasure Beach Theme Park dominates the long side of this class. 142 pacer bounces away from Blackpool South. Oh, it's going. Oh, Pleasure Beach. I've been there about 5 times. Trying to go to the theme park. They've teased, taunted, and given us a veritable roller coaster of clues. But we're delighted to announce that Just Train's first Trains and World route will be Blackpool, Preston and Ormskirk, which I will be getting. The team at Just Trains are excited to announce the route we've been working on the last 18 months is Blackpool, Preston and Ormskirk. 18 months, that's how long they took. Good on them. This covers 47 miles, spanning from Ormskirk in the south to Blackpool and Burnnays in the north, with Preston as the bustling centre for this detailed and immersive 1980s route. That's nice, the 1980s. The route has a total of 19 stations, with 16 in service and 3 disused. So one thing I like about Trains and World is you drive by disused stations. Here are some of the details of the new route and some all new first shots of the route from the team at Just Trains. Caption. It's a class 4. Oh, it's a class 40. I thought it was a 47. A class 40 whisks along the embankment between Singleton and Wheaton in a lucky patch of sun, covering a turn usually worked by DMU. Nice. So this little thing, a caption. A Class 31 stands at Preston Station on a murky evening whilst working a returning ballast train from Kirkham Civil Engineer siding. It would reverse into Preston Station, access Ladywell sidings. So this is the route map. Oh my god, there was a lot to do, a lot to stop at. That's cool, I like that. It's going to be a fun route. This shows a freight-only Burnnays branch at the north, both Blackpool North and Blackpool South. Stations to the west. Preston on the West Coast Main Line in east, and Ormskirk is the south where it meets the top end of the Merseyrail track coming from Liverpool. Oh, we also have the Class 47s as well. With the mist closing in on a cold November evening, a Class 47 restarts the northbound freight away from a brief stop at Preston. Oh, there's going to be this game. They've done it. It's going to be amazing. Can't wait. This little thing, picture. A direct scene from the forlorn signal box at St Anne's is passed by a Class 142 pacer bound for Ormskirk. Oh, they're going to be annoying to drive, but they're going to be fun. Preston Station is the focus and is located on the West Coast Main Line. The station in our area features 6 through and 2 bay platforms. So bay platforms like a stop at. No matter what time of day or night you visit, you'll always find action here, with passenger, freight and parcel services all making regular visits. Departing Preston heading north, our route leaves the West Coast Main Line at Fly Junction and turns west, bound for the seaside. Have your buckets and spades at the ready. Following a swift run through the little new station of Selwick, you will soon find yourself at Kirkham Wisham, an interesting island platform, quickly followed by a civil engineer's yard and Kirkham Tip. Both locations produce interesting services on the route. At Kirkham North Junction, the line split, our route features both the winding single track to Blackpool South, as well as a much busier main line to Blackpool North. Oh my god, there's going to be so much to do. I think we'll be doing quite long streams. We'll share more details on the unique personas of both of these lines in due course, but needless to say, both offer a very different experience. Little Gronky. The A platforms of Blackpool North are busy throughout the day with this scene, showing a DMU special waiting to return holidaymakers to the West Yorkshire, whilst a Class 47 towards a haul train has just arrived in Platform 1. Ooh. To the right there is a Class 08 shunter which is used to pilot duties at various points throughout the day. Jumping back to Preston, we can catch a train for the 15-mile journey to Ormskirk, leaving the West Coast Main Line at Farrington Curve Junction. This single-track line provides a different experience to the other part of our route, running almost entirely through charming rural countryside, broken only by the stops at Croston, Rufford and Birchcroft Junction stations, before arriving at Ormskirk, where the British rail line meets the electric Mersey rail network. That's cool. Unfortunately, the tracks are not physically joined together. Also, they stop at the same station, but different tracks. I like that. At St Anne's Station, in a terrible state of repair during the demolition of its extensive station buildings. That's a nice station. That's Preston. Preston Station, north end with the grand entrance to the right, accessed from the road bridge. Platform 7 is visible on the far left at this time only used by freight trains. Driving our British Rail's provincial liveried Class 142 Pacer, a full-length run from Ormskirk to Blackpool South will give you a very atmospheric 60-minute drive. Through a constantly changing landscape as you head through the city of Preston and onwards to the Fly Coast. On top of this, we've also added a 3-mile line from Portonley Flyard to Burnnays, a freight-only branch that will allow for yet a variety within this ever-changing route. Please note, screenshots may include content from other add-ons via lanes or substitutions. Blackpool North and its concrete concourse, passengers make their way towards the trains, taking them from Blackpool to the Flathead. Just Trains have also just posted a in development article which we're not going to read. Improve overhead line rendering. We've been giving our overhead lines some love in Trains and 4. Increase their visibility within the game. Here's our technical artist Paul Klingenberg. How have we improved the rendering? We have detailed overhead wires modelled at a very high accuracy. Unfortunately, one could not really see them as they are so thin that they disappear at a very short distance and create a lot of flickering. We improved this visibility without making them unrealistically thick so players can actually see their complexity with much less flickering on the lines. So that's the old and that's the new. That's cool, that's nice. Please note this effect is only implemented on the routes that are released after Trains and 4 and the set transfer. Rain window effects. We listened to your feedback on our rain on windscreen graphics and are giving them a glorious update. We just know you'll be praying for rain after release. Technical artist Paul is back for more information on this. What's new with this change? And he says, The new weather effects on windscreens and other train windows are now much more detailed and higher definition. In the various version, it was very washed out, stuttered, and visibly low resolution. All droplets move at the same speed as it looks very synthetic overall. Now they show disconcertable droplets and snowflakes that land on the window and move in droplets. Show streaks trailing behind them. The animation is also much smoother for natural. Overall, it's much less looking like jelly. There's a video for it. Please note this effect is only at, Ooh, character updates and new dioramas. It's time we gave our lovely characters or trained some more ways for them to express themselves. So we built a new dioramas for them to appear in across the world, such as queues for a lunchtime snack and sitting around enjoying a coffee in groups. These events should respect the normal times too, so don't expect to find them being social until the late hours of the evening. Ah, that's cool. Got new people. You will also notice new handheld items such as luggage, briefcase, cups of coffee and phones, all to help build the immersion of the world in different ways. Oh, we've got a new Collins Arkin timetable. Here's something we've been keeping in our back pockets. We've been upgrading the Collins Arkin timetable as well as the New York Trenton. With all the details, here's Joe. A new timetable has been created from scratch for the Collins Arkin route. I wanted to make a new timetable for this route since London to Brighton. An opportunity came up with a new journeys pack, and what I had planned was much bigger than that. The service patterns created for the NJP have been taken across, which are the S6, S11, S12, RE8 and the RB27. These haven't been extended into the next morning based on the longer timetable tech first used on the KWG. Everything else is brand new. S19, the RE1 and the RE9 to name a few. But there's also a bunch of new freight services based on rail life timings destinations, like what you might be useful on the BRO, as well as a lot of new AI for Coln Hobbenhof, Horem, Joren and Aachen Hobbenhof, which make the route seems very busy, especially in Coln. We can confirm these will be post-release updates, and we will update you of our progress with screenshots in future roadmaps. So, updates on previous roadmap items. A quick update on some of the things we've mentioned on previous roadmaps. Whilst we are hoping to release the following for Train Sim World for launch day on September the 26th. So we got the NEC New York to Trenton. An update on the long-awaited New York Trenton timetable improvements, which we are happy to confirm. This will be available for Train Sim World full launch for Train Sim World 4 players. We will be aiming to bring this to Train Sim World at a later date. Back to Joe. Having now completed all Amtrak, NJT and LNLIRR traffic, Long Island Railroad, I moved on to freight services. Unfortunately, most of these will not be playable due to the safety systems. You would not have much of an idea what's happening ahead of you. They will remain as AI to be seen through the day. However, there was one we can make playable, the ME2. Specifically, it's shunting duties at Jersey Avenue. Oh, look at that train. It's cool. This service operates entirely in signal yards areas which allows to be playable and is quite fun one. What's that one? The ME2. The next task was to add static traffic in various yards along the line, including Croxton Yard, which has quite a noticeable difference where driving over the bridge at Zacchaeus. There's also a few lines across the NEC that will have traffic, such as at Croxton and Lehigh Line, which crosses the NEC between Newark, Penn and Newark Airport. All in all, the route is quite more lively now. The South Eastern High Speed route improvements. So with the release of the Class 700 earlier this year, we wanted to make some improvements to the route to coincide with it. With the details, here's James Lewis. Hello everyone, James here, and while I've been busy working with and enjoying Trainable 4, I'm also glad to be able to take some time to talk about the South Eastern High Speed, like I need much excuse. But it's good to have one. If you cast your minds back to June and July roadmaps before the Class 700 Zero released, we announced that we were working on one of the testers and trainee editor, Daisy, to add the time-specific stop markers on the route. However, I have hinted here and there that is not all. In a mini passion between myself and Daisy, we devised a list of achievable tool scenery improvements which we wanted to see, and now we can reveal that. Alongside the new markers, you can expect to find volume bonuses, updates to the South Eastern High Speed and Trains Symbol 4. So here's other changes. Added Thameslink stopping boards at stations between Rainham and Dartford. Corrected/added/improved the location/quality of other conventional stopping boards. Added the DOO monitors where they were missing. Added the CIS board at Rainham Platform 0. Improved lighting at Junningham and Ashford depots, as well as fashion siding. Added extra scenery items at Ashford Depot, including depot protection system lights. Added new clock assets to Junningham Station Depot and Dartford side. Improved the look of Northfleet Station platforms and fencing. Cool. Added missing foliage at Springhead Junction, where the HS1 joins the North Kent line. Added missing feeder substation at Springhead Junction. Add lighting and some gantry assets around Who Junction and staff halts. Fix instances of passengers not boarding on the light trains at Higham Station. Added missing 15 and 20 mile an hour speed boards on Rochester Bridge Junction. Replace container crates near Purfleet on HS1 with buses as priority. Replace high-rise buildings at HS1 Medway Viaduct with more reasonable alternative. Fix a misplaced asset which was covering tracks outside Ashford. Remove invisible walls which blocked on-foot Ashford Depot movement. Added a prompt to bypass and access a fencing footbridge at Ashford. Okay. Plus some more new Easter eggs. Oh, they got cats in again. Feline the detail. Can you find Gandalf, Tripod, Daisy and Phoebe? Embark on some valley viewfinding to pass the time. And master the meta. It's a train simception. Please note, stopping board changes are visual only and may not represent where the timetable instructed you to stop, and markers were replaced based on where research knowledge shows them to be for the past years. More recent changes like the new Tame Slipboard extrude platform 2, which is not represented. He said, I wasn't just going to list them out without giving you some eye candy, but I think I'll be put in bandwidth jail if I shove this all in screenshots. So we have is something even better, a little slideshow. I'm not going through that. Lost myself. Oh, there we go. We can confirm these will be available on Train Symbol 4 for all players on launch day. Oh, nice. So, we got the Nil Tarbahn bonus content. Before we let James go, he's also going to give a first look at the little something you can look forward to. Coming to everyone's favourite branch line, the Nil Tarbahn in Train Symbol 4. He said, wasn't even halfway out the door before being called back, but it's worth it. To the eagle-eyed of you who already spotted the little tease for a few seconds in the Dovetail Direct, well be done. For all those attendants, let's talk the BBR 628. Set in the 1990s, the Nil Tarbahn group comes with the BR 628 and its complementary white mint livery, which was perfect for that route, and of course the Lincoln Orange Striker, which released around the same time. However, German and Austrian routes are also set in the modern day, and it wouldn't be perfect if we had them in the DB Regio Red BR. Also, actually changed the colours, have they? That's nice. That suits it better, actually. Well, thanks to the team at TSG, we do. Coming as a free bonus with the top on the modern condition of the 628. Mint has been painted over with red and subtle detail have been changed inside and out to reflect real life progression of these units through the years. We'll share more about this in due course, but we feel it will come in handy for your free roaming and scenario planning adventures. And of course, it's bound to turn up in a layer or two at some point. We can confirm this bonus livery will be available for Train Symbol 4 for the Nil Tarbahn owners at launch day. So, the Train Symbol 4 launch mega update. As well as the above, there will be a significant update to existing content for Train Symbol 4 players. Covering the multitude of routes. We'll go into detail with these release notes, but we've called out some of the interesting things we called out some of the things we think you'll be interested in, and some of the routes that are getting larger improvements. So obviously what they said in the South Eastern High Speed, obviously what they said in the NEC, Neverka, Dresden is having the update. Obviously the free livery, having the DPR 187 audio improvements, and Edinburgh Glasgow route improvement. There are many other small improvements we'll provide more information for at the time. And these updates will be released for Train Symbol only, with the exception of the Trenton timetable, for which our intentions is to release at a later date. We plan to release patches between now and Train Symbol 4's release to address some issues with achievements and tutorials on Train Symbol 3. These will be ported to Train Symbol 4 as well. So, partner check-in program. As well as exciting news, Just Trains Blackpool, Preston and Kirk route is coming soon. Here's a quick update on our other partner developers. So, as you can see, we've added a few new pieces of content for games onto the roadmap for Train Symbol 4 roadmap, as well as a new logo from a developer who is new to Train Symbol. We'll update you in the future roadmaps what they're working on. Our remaining partners, ATS, Union Workshop and TSG, working to continue to work on their projects, but we don't have timeline for their content at this stage. upcoming features and improvements. Formation designer and suspension improvements will not be available on the release date for Train Small 4 and will come in a future update. We'll provide more accurate information and timelines where we can, but for now, enjoy these developer deep dives that share more information on what you can expect. So obviously the suspension is having improvements, which is quite good. Only swaying side to side is so TS3. Within Train Simple 4, we focused on improving some of the vertical sensations caused by the train suspension. Sean Bailey, our physical software engineer, has the details. What changes have been made to the suspension in Train Simple 4? Well, he says, the main focus of the update suspension has been on a more physically accurate spin model with a much smoother and more controlled dampening effect. This overall allows for a much bouncier vehicle with less jittering that was presented on some vehicles before. There has been a lot of work into development for the large amount of flexibility in the spring, requiring work into balancing the vehicle correctly, regardless of the spring strength or the axle or the bogie position. To take advantage of these improvements, slight dips in the track and rail gaps and junctions have been added. These will give this player a slight jolt when travelling over, similar to the real-life effects. The improvement springs allow for these to be implemented without throwing the vehicle off the track. There have also been some minor changes to the unevenness of the track to allow the variations at different scales, which is distances. Why is it important for the players? When playing TSW, it is important that the player feels like they are in a real train or watching one from the platform. The improved suspension steps the simulation in this direction, allowing for better immersion. This also brings more life to the vehicle, and the vehicle bogie and axles have a more dynamic behaviour and feeling a bit bouncier than before. There will be lots of effects that players will be able to observe that their own real-life parts, including body roll, vertical bouncing, nose dips, rises during braking, and acceleration. Body movement during adding remove weight. What differences will a player feel when operating a train in TSW4? Overall, the player will feel a bouncier and more dynamic ride while operating the trains. How much so will be dependent on the vehicle being driven. Many have bogies attached to reduce the effect of variations in the track on the driver and passenger, and this will be the same in TSW. However, other vehicles have directly connected axles, which results in a much bumpier ride, both in the real world and train sim world. What has been the most challenging part of the development and feature? TSW has a very wide range of locos that have large array of variations, all of which to be accounted for when developing and tweaking the suspension. This is then amplified by the very delicate nature of physics engines in the game and the need for a solution that works for every vehicle, all of which are very complex with numerous moving parts that need to be working in tandem with each other. Tuning these vehicles can also be very challenging. It is not enough to simplify it. It is not enough to simply take the parameters that from the real life vehicle has experienced, the bump and variation throughout physical touch is very different to watch it through the screen. So very careful consideration to these precise tuning of this vehicle is needed to make it feel as if the player was actually there. The term formation designer. The term formation, otherwise known as consist, refers to a sequence of rail vehicles that make up a train. So the exact freight cars or coaches and the locomotives and what order they are in. Let's hand over to Matt Hiddleston to talk more on this new feature coming to Trains World 4, which will bring you after release. What is formation designer? Well, the term formation refers to a sequence of rail vehicles that makes up a train. So the exact freight cars or coaches or locomotive in the order they're in, if they got loads in them and so forth. Formation designer is a tool that allows you to create these informations. Where can players use their new formations? Formation designer will let you make formations that you can use in both scenario, planner and free roam mode. So you can mix and match stock from all library of trains, and then use it to create even more varied and interesting content. Are there any limit to what players can make? Because Train Sim will create a world of realistic physics and train behaviours, your formation will largely be held at the same constraints. You can't mismatch couplings, you can't mismatch braking systems, and even the electricity connectivity used down the train is factored in the simulation. If any of these things don't match, you will end up with a train that simply won't work in various ways. Often that you can get it moving. To avoid confusion, the designer understands what the compatibility of vehicles is and will only offer options that will work as you build your formation. Unfortunately, an off-the-rails equivalent isn't really possible in this kind of system because it would essentially mean replacing the entire physics model with a very basic generic one, and we definitely don't see that as something players would prefer. What has been the most challenging part of the development of the feature? It's a big system to build, understanding the complexities of vehicles which can work together, and then create a user interface to manage a relatively complex task of adding, moving and rearranging vehicles, understanding cargo loads, and even allowing for formations to contain other formations. There's a lot going on in this tool, and it unlocks a lot of freedom for the players to really get the most out of their collection. So, this is where we're up now. Where did the 8,000 words go? There's a lot of exciting news to take in. We'll have part 2 of this article releasing tomorrow, which will detail more on the features and upcoming tools. And then tomorrow evening, on Thursday the 24th, our roadmap stream is the answer for questions. That's the thread link, and that's a guy on his phone waiting for his train. Thank you for watching and listening to me read 8,000 words and messing it up half the time. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching.